Welcome to the third episode of Series 78, everyone. This series, we welcomed Brian Saliba, creator of the game that we are covering, Monty Python's Cocurricular Medieval Reenactment program, a game that utilizes all sorts of shenanigans from the Monty Python experience. We are finishing up character creation in today's episode, but before we get to that, here's what to expect in our calls to action. Things have been pretty busy for the both of us, so expect a quick update about our Patreon, and then our normal patron thank yous, and other information on how you can best support the show. And that's about it. With all of that out of the way, enjoy the show, everyone. And now for something completely different. On the last episode of Character Creation Cast, Brian was creating a churl, Amelia was creating an enchanter, and I was creating a knight. We're picking up right where we left off last time. Enjoy. Okay, so I've got that. I think I can make a line here. Can I do a cross out? Ooh, yeah. Perfect. That looks nice. And then each of these come with accoutrement, right?
Mm-hmm. We'll do those at the end because your choice might be affected based on what all your traits are.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, okay.
Or actually, we could do it the other way too. If you want to roll accoutrement as you choose a trait, it actually might work the other way. Like if you get an accoutrement that also gives you a bonus to another trait, that might influence what trait you choose. So.
Oh yeah, I picked my traits. So
okay.
I've got luck, strategy, augmentation. Got a gavel.
A gavel?
Oh, you already rolled your accoutrement.
Well, just one of them so far.
Okay.
So I'm working on that now.
I would like to roll my accoutrement.
+1 authority.
I'm going to start with chastity. Because that comes first in the alphabet.
That's kind of where I'm going to. Just going to roll in whatever order they are in the book.
I guess what traits did you go with, Brian?
I have my churl has druidry. In addition to animal husbandry, which comes with it, has druidry, luck, nimbleness, and argumentation.
Oh, that sounds useful.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it depends on how I start with all of these.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, once I've chosen my traits, now I can assign starting die values to each one. In the case of a churl, I've got 2d12s, 2d10s, a d8. So I'm not going to be serious in anything, but
oh yeah, because as a knight, I start with a d18, 2d12s, and 1d6. Now how does that work with the squire on there? Since I've got a manservant and 3 traits and 1 squire, do I assign a die to the squire as well?
No, you just discard that one.
Oh, okay.
You just assign dice to each of your traits, and if you've got more dice left over, just discard them.
So I could go, I want to take decorum pretty seriously, though, I think. I'm quite decorous.
So my churl is going to start, in the case of animal husbandry, the serious side of it is animal husbandry, and the silly side is also animal husbandry. And you could do the math on that. But I'm rather on the silly side of animal husbandry. I am neither really when it comes to druidry and nimbleness. I am a bit family friendly. Defecation luck, and I am a bit automatic gainsaying to start. But these things change often.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Wondering if I want to be either right in the middle on chastity or quite naughty. My only other option is Valor. I don't want to be quite run away on Valor.
I haven't even gotten to that part yet.
Maybe I'll just be right in the middle. That should be fine.
Yeah, but also where you are on that spectrum, on the dice spectrum, doesn't necessarily determine your role-playing choices.
Right.
It's just that's when the rubber meets the road and it's time to roll a die, that's what it means. But even if you're quite run away, or even on the very far extreme, silly extreme of Valor, you can still act brave. Those things aren't meant to restrict choice.
Right. It's just harder to be valorous if you are quite run away, right?
It's harder to succeed on deeds of valor, but it's certainly not. It doesn't affect your ability to act in a valorous way.
Correct. Yeah.
You can go running in, swinging your sword against that ogre, but you just might not be really good at it once you get to him.
That makes sense. All right. I'm going to be, just to have a little bit of a spread, I'm going to be neither really for valor, quite naughty for chastity, and then quite decorous for decorum.
I have a feather boa.
You have a feather boa?
Yeah.
Nice.
It gives me +1 glibness. Just wanted everybody to know.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Let's see. So chastity accoutrements all grant +1 to chastity rolls, but additional pluses are on there as well. So I rolled a 9, which gives me a skeleton key and +1 to subtlety. But it has 2 stars, which says to be used exclusively for locking chastity belts and doors between you and your lover. Well, why? How are you planning to use it? Will I never? Oh, that's amazing.
Never to be used to unlock those things.
Oh, for my wisdom in the ways of science, I have scales, large, requires a cart to transport.
So yeah, I mean, what you guys are doing now is you for each trait there is a table of accoutrements, and you roll a d10, and that accoutrement is placed in the accoutrement box next to that particular trait. So for animal husbandry, I have a harrow, and which gives me a +1 to all my animal husbandry rolls. In addition, it gives me a random +1 to bardistry, I think because I tell harrowing tales. It's one of my favorite puns in the book. Nobody has gotten it yet.
Sorry, I was writing things down.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I've tried that so many times, and everybody's like, huh? It's so dumb.
But it makes you laugh, and that's what matters.
It does. That one will always get me. And for druidry, I've rolled the 10, which is kind of where the big thing is in all of them. There's no rank for 1 through 9, but 10, if you roll a 10, you've gotten something special. I have Sir Charles of Butley Downs' Guide to Fauna and Extra Scary Fauna, which has a once per day use. That's really all one can bear of Sir Charles Butley Downs' writing. I can look up a beast or monstrosity that I can see and learn everything about them, which means the head of our entertainment will provide me with some details of presumably that creature's traits or something mechanical about them, or not mechanical. But
all right, I have to roll a d10 for each of these traits to determine my starting value here.
So that's clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
We're going to find out how good I am at any of these things.
I thought I was going to be sort of walking you guys through all this, but you guys are just like slamming right through it, which is even better. Because that means you don't need me. I would much rather it be intuitive and you guys say, this makes sense. I got it. Yeah. So,
I mean, to be fair, we are also character creation experts. You would have to walk me step by step through playing a game. But although admittedly, I'm sure Ryan can tell you that there are some times where I'm like, I don't understand what. But I feel like this one I get.
Pretty straightforward.
Especially because this one's like rolling a d10 and then it's like whatever, like half the value is basically what where you're starting.
That's not too bad.
I'm glad you don't need me. That means we did good, at least on the character creation part. It's we have a step-by-step for each situation that just takes you, what you do one thing at a time. And
there you go.
Glad it's... but yeah, you guys are pros at character creation, to be fair.
So for sorcery, let's see here. 9 is a D20. Ooh, I'm very serious about sorcery, apparently.
Oh, did you get you got a D20 for your sorcery?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm in trouble.
It's another me. Tim in the making.
I know.
That's right.
There's some who call me Amelia. Let's see. For my decorum accoutrement, I rolled a 10 on that as well. So I got the Book of Etiquette. It's a one-time use. You have to burn it, shred it, or otherwise thoroughly destroy the book, and all upper-class persons who see you do it faint dramatically from shock. And when they come to, they think you're the most vile, abhorrent knave and tell all their friends about you. But you'll be long gone by then, surely. Amazing. So it's basically a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Yeah, I mean, it has that one-time use, but it also just has its persistent bonuses until you burn it to ruin or to knock out a whole bunch of upper class people. So
I can just hold up and point to my Book of Etiquette and be like, "Hey, I know what decorum is. I get +1 bonus to everything. Everybody knows I've got this book. Show how serious I am about decorum."
Yeah, for argumentation, my accoutrement is a club with notches in it, 1 for each argument of 1.
You can say, every time you win, "Welcome to the club."
So you know how I got a 20 for sorcery?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So for wisdom in the ways of science, I have a 4.
So good.
So my next one, I rolled a 10, which means it's my choice. So I think for luck, I'm just going to put it right in the middle. Just to be safe.
Yeah. So so you're a bit too very small rocks, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. Once you have your traits and then have assigned the dice to them and then have your accoutrements noted, let me know. I can take you through the last couple of things.
Sure. I accidentally closed my book.
Last one here.
I do need my Valor accoutrement, though. Let's see what that's all about.
Okay. So my argumentation, I have 14. So a bit. Yeah. Yeah. So for wisdom, I'm a bit too really small, very small rocks. Sorcery, I'm a bit too sorceress. A bit too really sorceress, I suppose. Luck, I have neither really. Strategy, neither really. And then argumentation, a bit.
You're a bit argumentative.
Yeah. And I feel like all of my accoutrements gave me pluses to things that I do not have. So that's very exciting.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, because anytime you roll one of those, you're gonna be rolling a D4. So a bonus to those is helpful. Although that bonus won't get you out of a spam. If you roll a 1, it's a spam, full stop.
Yeah, but, I have a gavel for my argumentation. I'm pretty excited about that.
There's also the option, if you don't like an accoutrement, you can turn it in at character creation stage for the currency associated with your character.
No, I like everything I have. It's ridiculous. I mean, who wouldn't want a gavel, large scales that require a cart, a feather boa, and a pagan figurine? I mean, those all seem like great options to me.
I'm really happy with my longer sword.
Longer sword
for Valor. Gives me a +1 purpose in addition to the +1 Valor. Very good.
I have to roll for my element.
Ooh.
I'm pretty excited about this. This is a D30, so I'm just going to do a 20 and a 10 because that's what I've got here. Hold on. I'm going to do it so I don't roll them directly off my desk.
Well, actually, you just choose an element. I mean, you can roll for it if you want, but it would just be a D4. It's fire, water, air, or earth. The thing below, the D30 roll, that's when you use your Spiffing series ability. That's when you roll a D30 and see what how you're able to channel your element.
I got it. I am going to roll a d4 because if there's an option to roll a die, I'm going to roll it. All right, so 3. So my element is air.
All right.
Ooh, interesting.
You're a middle-class air enchanter.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's interesting. I would not have picked air myself. So sometimes it's fun.
I see these indifferences as well.
Yep, that was the next thing we were going to get to.
Excellent.
Each situation is indifferent to one trait. Actually, I'm indifferent to 2 because I'm a churl and I have so many things going against me. I get a choice of 2. Your situation usually determines it. Sometimes there's a choice. I mean, as an enchanter, Amelia, you're indifferent to purpose. This means that you can never roll a die for this thing. But also you cannot ever be affected by this thing. So,
sorry, my pagan figurine also gives me -1 purpose. So,
well, so
take that.
This is, Brother Maynard comes at you with some diatribe about his Lord and Savior, and he's trying to convince you of something or browbeat you or whatever. Completely indifferent to it. Doesn't affect you in any way.
Amazing.
And that doesn't mean that you can't try and use your purpose, but you can never roll a die for it. So there is kind of a loophole in the rules that says if ever a participant offers up a really good idea, does really good role play, does something really creative, the head of entertainment always has the option to just wave the die roll and say it works. And we call that, the whole is encouraged to say intercourse the dice, you succeed. And that is, you can always earn one of those by doing something. Like if you state your action and the whole determines like, wow, it sounds like you're using purpose there. And you're like, well, I'm indifferent to it. Then fine, it works because you did it so well.
But I can never be burdened by glorious purpose.
No, nope. And you can never, holy people that have purpose shining through them are completely immune. You're completely immune. I'm personally immune to hardiness and purpose as well. As a knight, you're immune to
subtlety.
What's your difference? Subtlety. So
subtlety.
So that obviously has some narrative flavor to it, but also you sort of, a rogue tries to stab you in the back and you bend down to tie your shoes at just the right moment, or someone tries to poison you and you knock the goblet over instead. Like you, anything that will target subtlety, that uses subtlety against you or would potentially target your subtlety is, you are just the opposite of subtle.
I love
that.
But
likewise, you can't use it. You can't go sneaking around, or at least you can't roll a die to see if you succeed on it.
I think I'm sneaking around, but
right.
I've got my heavy armor on, so it's just like clank, clank, clank all the time.
But that's what you guys were laughing about. You're indifferent to subtlety. That's something that we were trying to do with the kind of word choices and nomenclature is that it has a mechanical effect, but even if you aren't paying attention to the mechanical effect, it gives you some fun role-playing grist for the mill, right? Like I'm indifferent to subtlety. There's mechanics to that, but mechanics aside.
I also love that, like, anybody like nudging you, being like, wink, you're like, what's in your eye? Something wrong with your eye?
Exactly. Arthur Name comes and gives you his wink, wink, nudge, nudge, know what I mean? And it's just...
no, I don't.
Sorry? So that's how indifference works. And all creatures and NPCs and everybody else, they have indifferences too. So part of the strategy of, we don't call it combat, we call it contestation, because usually combat isn't swords and shields. It's often contest of wits or inner drive or charisma or whatever. They have indifferences too. So figuring out what your opponent is indifferent to can be the difference between sort of winning and losing sometimes, because if you keep trying to fight this creature with valor and they're immune to it or indifferent to it, then it should become obvious. I mean, hopefully the whole won't say they're indifferent to it. Who's next? It's more like, you mighty swing of your sword with, you rolled an 18. Oh my gosh. Whoa, what you've cleaved the air, the whistles as your blade comes screaming down. And then, the the black beast scratches his hindquarters and it sails right over his head. It's like, how did I miss with an 18? Oh, I bet he's indifferent to valor. Whatever. Okay, next bit is death and Loony status. So this is kind of health hit point thing. So you have both physical and sort of Loony statuses. You have a starting status, and it should be marked on your sheet already. And as you incur bits of death or bits of Loony, you will move down toward the end. So as a peasant, I start out as getting better as my death status. And, if I ever hit no more, then the character dies. However, I do start out as sensible, which is slightly better on the Loony scale. But if I hit coconuts, I'm gone. So the maximum for Loony is Reginald Maudling. Then it goes sensible, daft, barmy, crackers, and coconuts. And death status, the most healthy you could be is Mr. Neutron. Then it's fine, getting better, not dead yet. Oh man, this is
virtually dead.
Thank you. Virtually dead and no more. So,
yeah, I start as fine, and daft.
Right. So not quite as
that's fine.
Mentally girded as me, the little.
Well, that's
peasant.
fine. My wisdom in the ways of science is currently a bit too really very small rocks, so that feels like it goes together personally.
So then the next thing is you need to gather your currency.
Okay.
Each situation starts with a different currency type. There's 10 different currencies in the game. As a peasant, I start with plague dead bodies as my currency. I've got 24 of them, so presumably in a cart, and a big pile of plague dead bodies.
I have 19 gemstones.
Ooh, I have to get out an app because I don't think I have a D30.
Oh, yeah, I just did a 10 and a 20 and added them together.
I'm going fancy.
Look at you, fancy pants.
So I have to roll a D30. Whoa, hello. Yeah, quiet you.
And as a knight, your currency is?
It's a D30 gold. To see how much you've looted from poor dead dragons. Collect your gold.
Yep. I apparently conjure the gemstone, so it seems like it should be very easy to get more, right?
Right.
Gosh, I'm sure.
Currency, it can be anything from acorns, cheese, eggs. You guys have two of the more standard gemstones and gold, but there are also lupins.
I like upper class twit trading cards.
Yeah. And if you're a cleric, you start out with naughty pictures as your currency.
Ooh, I got 29.
And then there's usually kind of one more choice to be made that's more of a flavorful thing. In my case, I'm choosing a profession, which might be a farmer, a herder, a filth wrangler, filth heaper, cat smacker, water swatter, mosquito breeder, flea carrier. Anyway.
So what are you picking?
I think I'm going to go cat swatter.
Cat swatter.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, mine was to pick my element, so I...
pick your element.
Yeah. I picked air.
And then you have...
I get an idiom. Popular choices include daring do, insufferable positivity, persistently in search of favors from unattainable ladies or gentlemen, and the like. Oh boy. Doesn't have any mechanic effects. It's simply a preferred way of coloring your actions and choices.
And then you need a name. And you are ready to embark on your career.
Gosh.
Would you like me to use this random idiom generator that I found, Ryan?
Oh,
and
please.
Okay, so the first one is dropping like flies.
No.
Okay. Keep on trucking.
Keep on trucking. Okay.
Barking up the wrong tree.
Okay.
Let's see here. Keep your eyes peeled.
No, not that one.
Heads up.
Heads up, no.
Elvis has left the building.
Okay, I get the gist of what an idiom is now then.
Yeah.
Well, it comes from, if you remember in Grail, Lancelot is always talking about it's not right for his idiom. Like he has to do things in a very dashing sort of way, like when he has to jump on the chandelier to leave. He can't just walk out. He has to, and he's always like, it's not right for my, and his manservant has to, idiom, sir? Right, my idiom. It's not right for my idiom. So, That's the source of that.
2 down, 1 to go.
How would you say it, like, always over the top in any situation?
Embarrassingly extreme.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Embarrassingly earnest, which is kind of like Lancelot in the Python tradition. It's going to extremes.
Yeah. Embarrassingly extreme is my idiom. But now we've got names. And I did notice, like, the first page of the book, there is a random people name generator on there, which seems useful for our purposes. There is also a more people names as well.
Closely.
I know.
It is interesting. Yeah, because, dear listeners, it is not just names. It is things like first name. Most boring name you can think of that hasn't already been used. A famous movie monster, but change the first letter. Your mother's best friend. These are...
And that's just the first name.
Right. Yeah. All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to roll, and we're going to see what happens.
I'll do it
here.
too.
Okay.
What is my least favorite poet?
Gosh, I could think of so many. I'm just kidding. I don't particularly care for poetry.
So, any poet.
Yeah.
Right?
Shakespeare.
I'm just trying to think of a poet that, like, infamously, like, bad personality of sorts.
Charles Dickens.
Charles Dickens?
Not really a poet, but
sure. So my first name is going to either be Charles or Dickens. Honestly, I'm going to go with Dickens. Okay. So Dickens. Sure.
Okay. So mine is a plant, flower, or tree. Which, wow, what a narrow list that is.
From there, right?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, let's go begonia. That feels right. That seems.
So part 1 of my last name is a building material. I'm going to go with brick, I think.
Ooh. All right. Let's see. Last name part 1. Oh, how about we don't roll off the table this time? An unnecessary luxury purchase. Ooh.
This particular generator has generated for me the name Drew Land Rover Commode. However, Land Rover Commode is pronounced throat wobbler mangrove.
Okay.
Of course.
So, yeah, I mean, I rolled for my first name, that kid from school when you were 8, you remember. And then I got the unnecessary luxury purchase and the last thing I sat on. So.
Amazing.
Let's see. Yeah, an unnecessary luxury purchase.
I'm trying to think of a species of bird.
I can't think of anything. I'm like, I haven't had the money to do that. And what do people spend money on?
Okay,
I'm going to reroll because I legitimately cannot think of a luxury purchase other than like BMW. Which is not
it is allowed.
Name. Let's see here. Okay, except I need a new die. I have rolled the same thing every time I have used that one. Something is not right.
All right, I'm going to go with Falcon because that sounds cool. Dickens Brick Falcon.
Ooh, that's a good name. I like that. Okay, this die also rolled a 9 again. Stop it.
And a dash of
6. Okay. A kitchen utensil.
Okay.
Spatula, obviously.
Perfect.
Yeah, so far we have begonia, spatula.
I've got woefully extended vowel sounds on this. So what does that sound like?
Oh, so really Midwestern.
Dickens Brick Falcon. Something like that?
Yeah, you could. Or Dickens Brick
sold.
Falcon.
Dickens Brick Falcon.
Falcon.
Okay.
All right, a 3. The last thing you sat on. Oh,
well, you're sitting right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm technically sitting on a cushion. So on my chair. So I get to be begonia spatula cushion.
Of course.
I'm going to have to clean up the sheet I'm writing so sloppily here. And then a dash of... Oh, I don't want to roll another 9. Stop rolling 9s. I don't trust 9s. 4. deep-throated Fleming pronunciation. I didn't even do that. I don't even know how to make that sound. Begonia.
Yeah,
Begonia.
Begonia.
Begonia spatula cushion.
Begonia spatula.
It's pronounced cushion. Cushion.
Cushion.
It's all from way down. Cushion.
Yeah. Cushion. Yeah.
From the northern spatula
Begonia.
cushions.
It's Begonia. Begonia spatula cushion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you have perfectly
Amazing.
useful and quite serious adventurers ready to begin their career.
So sorry, what was yours? Something Land Rover or something?
Drew Land Rover Commode, but my last name is actually pronounced Throat Wobbler Mangrove.
Of course. Right. All right.
And I am a churl, lower class fellow. I'm a cat swatter by trade, and I have accumulated 24 plague dead bodies as my currency. I carry a harrow, a pouch of acorns, a pouch of Ritta Weasel, Stoat Rat, Mouse, Rabbit X, and a club with notches in it, one for each argument that I've won. And I am getting better and sensible.
Amazing.
I love it.
I am Dickens Brick Falcon. Upper class knight. Falcon. Embarrassingly extreme is my idiom. I came with 29 gold, a D30, and I rolled a 29. It's fantastic. Let's see. I've got a longer sword, which helps me with purpose. A skeleton key that I can only use on a chastity belt or doors between myself and my lovers, I guess. And a book of etiquette for decorum. And I also have a squire and a manservant. My death status starts at Mr. Neutron, and I am also daft.
All right. Do you have to name your squire or your manservant?
I don't think he learned his squire's name, to be honest.
Oh, so like throughout the game, you're going to call him a different name every time.
Exactly.
Right.
And he's always going to correct me.
And every time his name is Robert, but you will call him Reginald Rocket Fuel. All sorts of different names.
Ryan, did you read what lessons your book of etiquette includes?
Did I? No, I don't think I did.
Does it include remembering your scribe's name?
You can look at it on page 59 and decide whether it's age appropriate for our broadcast here.
Let's see, the book of etiquette. Yeah. Okay. Include such lessons as how to reply to an invitation without passing gas.
How to say farting, Ryan.
Yeah, how to pour wine. It's all about farting, apparently.
Yeah.
How to pour wine without farting. And how to address a bishop without farting.
And those are pulled directly from one of the Python books.
Oh, amazing.
That was not just our scatologically inclined minds.
No.
Who among us has not farted in front of a bishop, though? Let's be honest.
Those of us without a book of etiquette.
Apparently.
Right? Well, he's a cardinal now, I guess. But he was just a priest at the time.
I know. So did we do it? Did we finish our characters?
I was going to say, I didn't tell you all the things about my character.
Oh, yeah.
It's my little rundown. I have Begonia Spatula Cushion, the enchanter, who's a middle class air enchanter. I have important things like a feather boa, some large scales that are carried around in a cart. I don't know if we have a cart, but that's not important. Maybe I can just throw them on top of the cart of dead bodies that we have. A pagan figurine, a sling, and a gavel. I'm fine, and deft also.
And then,
but I'm indifferent to purpose. I don't care about purpose. That's not important.
Fair enough. And then
I like the idea of somebody coming to me and saying, "We need to save the orphans," and being like, "Okay,
what?
someone being like, we have to save the orphans. And I'm like, this, okay.
Sorry, didn't catch that.
What's my motivation here? I don't.
Yeah. And then on the back is your Spiffing serious ability. Or in the book, it's there on the same page as the trait or your character situation, and tells you what your Spiffing serious ability is, and then how it works. In my case, I can call up a peasant revolt, and all of us do the same thing for this. We roll a d30, and there's a table there that determines the result of that Spiffing serious ability. I mean, if you do poorly on this roll, things can go very pear-shaped, very fast. However, if you do really well on it, it can alter the whole fabric of the world. So it's and it also, depending on how your roll turns out, it tells you when and you can use it again next. So it's not something you can kind of, pardon the phrase, spam.
Wow.
So
yeah, I get the ability to slay, which is if I roll really well, the creature that I slay is no more, and all creatures of this type are mortally terrified of you in perpetuity, and will either run away from you or grovel at your feet begging for mercy. Of course,
if you roll poorly.
If you roll poorly, the beast is enraged, suffer an immediate beshrew-ment. You cannot use valor as a deed until you meet the recharge requirement, which is after you've rescued a damsel of any gender in distress. Amazing.
Yeah. For me, if I do poorly in my attempt at revolution, then my revolution is stomped out before I can get off the ground. I suffer an immediate beshrew-ment, and whatever animals I own are taken into custody. I can't use animal husbandry as a deed until I meet the requirement. In this case, it's when I get the harvest in.
Wow.
If I do really well on it, then my revolt is a global revelation. I am the recognized leader and overnight sensation, a revolutionary hero. The entire social and economic order is upset and brought to a standstill. Who will make a new one? Everyone looks to me.
Ooh.
So yeah, mine is channel your element. You call forth the eldritch essence of your chosen element, smack it about, and bend it to your will to do something truly preternatural. Hopefully. How it manifests depends on your element, but it always involves a lot of chanting, shouting, histrionics, casting of bones, bloodletting, vomiting, and other such jiggery-pokery. If I do well, in my case, because I have air, I can conjure a hurricane. If I do not do well, my element is not my servant, but my master. You suffer an immediate beshrew-ment, and your sorceress accoutrement incinerates puddles, scatters to the winds, or crumbles into a pile of pebbles. You cannot use sorcery as a deed until you recharge your requirement, which is I have to acquire a new sorcery accoutrement.
That makes sense.
So if I do this badly, I could lose my feather boa.
Yeah, you don't want to lose that.
No.
And these beshrew-ments, just to give you a sense, you can each roll a d30, and I'll tell you, should you suffer a beshrew-ment, this is how it would work. You would roll on, in our case, Cardinal Jimenez on his beshrew-ment table, because that's who the current head of entertainment is.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here.
Ooh, I got a 13.
Okay, so in your case, the beshrew-ment is Cardinal Fang. Jimenez's number 3, Cardinal Fang, hustles a terribly comfy chair into the scene and throws you into it, demanding a confession. You suffer 1 bit of Loony and reset your strategy to D4 if you have it.
Interesting. You want me to roll a D30 for you?
Nope, I got it.
Okay.
I got a 22.
This is the Bishop, which is one of my favorite skits from Flying Circus. A priest, monk, nun, or other holy person, including a PC, in the scene dies in spectacular fashion, an exploding baby at the baptistry, etc. If there's more than one eligible character, lowest luck roll gets it. Immediately afterwards, Reverend E.P. Nesbitt, a.k.a. the Bishop, bursts into the scene with his cadre of collared enforcers. The Bishop mutters, "We was too late to save the whoever," before exiting. If there are no holy persons in the scene, the Bishop stops mid-sentence, realizing he's got the wrong scene, therefore no effect. But Other possible measurements, there's a door-to-door encyclopedia sales vicar. The Pope just tuned in. Everyone plays the Francis of Assisi game. There is the Finger of God, the Foot, Tea and Torture Time, a Knight, the Swiss Guard with a chicken, comes and hits you on the head with the chicken. Gradual Pontification, in which a Ring of the Fisherman appears on your finger. In the next scene, a crozier. In the one after that, a chasuble, funny hat, and so on until you've undergone a complete physical transformation into the Pope.
What is that? Gradual pontification?
Yeah.
There's also the possibility of a student audience revolt, where the outraged audience, composed of a collegial conference of Anglican bishops, storms the scene with scourges swinging and trashes the set. Everyone in the scene suffers one bit of depth and resets one random trait to D4. So just to give you a sense. There's also the alternate programming, where it could be a celebrity talk show. And in this case, it's I do like when they say Yow, presented by Sam Trench, who tests torture devices on guests. That's one of several possibilities.
Yeah.
Rename the torture device, give classic torture devices new names, hosted by Cardinal Biggles. That's if you end up with the quiz show version. So just a sense for what happens.
That's amazing.
So yeah, just all really normal outcomes that we've, I mean, I think we've all had those things happen to us in games before. Yeah.
It's so good.
I can't tell you the number of times I've been asked to rename torture devices.
So there you have it.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good.
We made characters.
Yeah.
Where's my outline?
It's right over there.
How did you know?
I know.
All right. Brian, thank you so much for joining us to do our Monty Python's co-curricular medieval reenactment program character creation process. This was so much fun. I love that. I can't wait to see where this goes.
Yeah.
But was it educationally edifying?
Absolutely.
I learned so much.
It was. Oh gosh. Where do I start?
No, thank you guys for the enthusiasm and creativity. That was, I assume that you guys are the same in this regard, and that when I first discovered D&D and got really hooked, I was very young, and I had the second edition books that I just would read cover to cover, and then between readings, I would just roll characters. I just love just making. I just have notebooks full of just rolling characters, and what I loved about it, I think, is that in that process, it felt like there was a narrative emerging. I could get a sense for who this character is, and that was so addictive to me. And so in this character creation process, we wanted to try and capture some of that. That it's fun to do, it's interesting to do, and at the end, you look at it and think, this is like a whole. I mean, not a fully fleshed out person, but there's enough here that I can go and I know what the decisions, what their opinions are going to be on things.
Yeah.
And,
I have a good idea of what this person's up to and how they feel about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're hoping for. Is at the end of the process, you think, okay, I know how to run this guy.
Yeah. This was extremely educational.
Okay.
Do you want to remind people where they can find you online and find this game?
Yeah, so the website is crwbr.com. It's just crowbar without the vowels. And I'm on socials. The game is published by Exalted Funeral. So there's, I'm not sure if it's up yet, but there's soon to be a whole landing page there at Exalted Funeral. And they're launching a website that is MontyPythonRPG.com. And again, I don't think that's live yet, but it's close. But you can pre-order now. Through the Kickstarter page and backer kit and all that stuff. And there's, in addition to the game, there's the dice, there's the that come in like a Black Beast box, which is really cool. It's the dice sit where the eyes of the Black Beast are, and Coconut have dice rollers, the Head of Light Entertainment screen with its interchangeable heads. There's a whole like ancillary board game called Fetchy Lavash that is based kind of on backgammon, but your two teams sort of race to one end of the field to claim a cow and try and get it off the field. And while it's kind of a gladiatorial event that English people captured by French are forced to participate in, but there's a whole...
I love it.
So we have a board for that and meeples and dice catapults that you launch in order to, determine who goes. And so there's a lot of supplementary educational materials, as we refer to them, available.
Yes.
So good.
I do like that one of these is called the Sensible Middle Class Pre-Order Bundle.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the public school edition, which is the snooty upper class one. But the whole thing is actually on a boat now as we speak and is scheduled to arrive in port in a couple of weeks. And then it'll be in stores and shipped to the backers first. And then sometime thereafter, it'll be available wherever you get your fine educational products.
That's very cool.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you again, Brian. And thank you to everyone for listening. Please join us on the next episodes for our discussion block.
Call to action.
Yeah, like that.
This series continues to be a lot of fun. We had so much fun recording this and having Brian on as our guest. We're really happy we were able to do this. We wanted to do a fun sort of game for December after all the stuff going on in the world. So we wanted to release a little bit of that tension with some Monty Python humor. We thought that would be a good fit for all of this. So really hope that you're enjoying the series as much as we did making it. So definitely let us know what you think. Hit us up on our Discord. We've got some conversations going on there about some of the supplemental materials for the game, and it's pretty fantastic. But before we let you go for the day, we do have some calls to action, and they are pretty much all about our Patreon. So first up, we do need your help, and we would love to send you some really cool stuff if you agree to do so. If you are able to support us at the $5 up level on Patreon, we have all sorts of goodies for you. That includes a set of 3 custom C3 branded dice, alongside personalized thank you card crafted by Amelia herself, and as well as a special year-end holiday card for all of our patrons that we have addresses for by the time Amelia sends those out, which I believe the deadline is going to be very soon. So we'll see kind of where that lands. I know she's been extraordinarily busy as well. So they may arrive possibly past Christmas, but we will see. And those may include a surprise or two, so keep an eye out for those. If you give at the $10 level and up, we'll even throw in a ton of custom and exclusive stickers. There are 19 stickers to give away at this point while supplies last, and we'd love to send all of them to you. If you stick with us, you'll even get a new sticker every month, and this just scratches the surface. We're almost out of 1 or 2 of them at this point, so the first come, first serve. Once they're gone, they are gone. We're not going to order any more as far as we understand. So next year, we should also have some more time to do more bonus episodes for the Patreon. I know I'm personally wanting to start up a solo game AP journey on the Patreon where I basically play solo games, and instead of writing everything down, I talk it all into a microphone and see what happens. So I've got at least 10 different solo games lined up for something like that. And I would love to teach you about those games, kind of like we do on the show for regular games, only we'll be exploring it through actual play instead of through character creation. So really hope you join us on that once I finally have the time to do so. We do have some few other ideas as well that we'd like to get to eventually, but we can't do that if we don't have the support to be able to afford to be able to do all of that fun stuff. In addition to all of that, we do like to thank our current patrons every single episode. Your support really helps out a great deal. So let's go ahead and do that right now, starting with DJT, aka Tigranosaurus, Eric Bonds, and Daryl Holiday II. Thanks for helping us make this show. Many thanks to Shadim Cabal, The Shyest Barbarian, and Benjamin Sweeney. Rob Fletcher, Kevin Brown, and Tentacle Duck, thank you all for your support. John Adamus, A3 Sketchpad, and Cole McCallum, thanks for helping us make this show. Carlos Salazar, Eric S., and Ian Potmeyer, thanks. Thanks to Liam G., Brian Colm, and Garden GM. So glad to have you backing us. Tanglefoot, Blue Kryptonite, and Danny, so many thanks to all of you. We appreciate your support as well. Nicole Trainer, Liam Murray, and Kenning, thank you. And Brian Kurtz, Marky Fair, and Drew Owen, thank you all so much. And thank you to all of our future patrons. This is truly where we need your help right now. Our Patreon currently doesn't quite cover our operating costs every month between the podcast costs and the Patreon rewards. So we need you to help us get back to a sustainable level. And if you are able to chip in even a little bit, or even just sign up for the free tier to get exclusive updates, that would mean the world to us. Our community is fantastic, and the patrons have been a huge part of making it a beautiful place. So check it out at patreon.com/charactercreationcast and help us out, or even join us right on our Discord at discord.charactercreationcast.com and join in on the conversation with a lot of other people that enjoy the show as well. That's all we have for today's episode. Join us next time when we learn more about our guest's journey into RPGs, as well as a lot more about this game. But until then, take care, everyone. Stay safe, drink some water, keep practicing those silly walks, and keep making those amazing people. We'll see you next time. Character Creation Cast is a production of the One Shot Podcast Network and can be found online at www.charactercreationcast.com. Head to the website to get more information on our hosts, this show, and even our press kit. Character Creation Cast can also be found on Twitter and Bluesky at CreationCast, or on our Discord server at discord.charactercreationcast.com. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Boelter, and I can be found on Twitter and Bluesky at Lord Neptune or online at lordneptune.com. Our other host, Amelia Antrim, can be found on Twitter and Bluesky at Ginger Reckoning. Music for this episode is used with a Creative Commons license or with permission from the podcast they originated from. Further information can be found within the show notes. Our main theme music is Hero Remix by Steve Combs and is used with a Creative Commons license. This podcast is owned by us under Creative Commons. This episode was edited by Ryan Boelter. Further information for the game systems used and today's guests can also be found in the show notes. If you'd like to support our show, find us on Patreon. Get access to bonus episodes, exclusive merch, and much more at patreon.com/charactercreationcast. Thanks for joining us. And remember, we find that the best part of any role-playing game is character creation. So go out there and create some amazing people. We'll see you next time.